6:03 developing this morning in a surprising show of diplomatic relations between the U.S. and Russia. A former U.S. Marine is heading home to his family in Texas.
When they said something might be occurring this week, and I said, am I going to have a happy Mother's Day? And they go, well, we can't say, but just, be ready. So yes, it's a perfect Mother's Day.
Certainly a big moment for Trevor Reed's parents. They've been fighting for this for years, and this week the Biden administration finally worked out an agreement to bring him home.
Matt Gregory joins us now to break down how this prisoner swap all went down. Matt, good morning.
Hey, good morning, guys. It felt like something out of the Cold War. Despite the frigid relations between the United States and Russia, the two countries exchanged prisoners on a tarmac in Turkey. Wednesday in Turkey, two former prisoners passed each other on the way to freedom.
We were on pins and needles.
For nearly 1,000 days, former Marine Trevor Reed's family has fought to bring him home. Russian authorities have held the Texas native since 2019 on charges of assaulting an officer following a night of heavy drinking.
My son was probably never going to let up. He had made it his mission to try and not go along with anything they said, and he was paying the price for it. And we feared that his body would give out before his mind would.
A month ago, Reed's parents met with President Biden. And over the last month, the Biden administration made progress to secure Reed's release.
President Biden saved our son's life today.
In exchange for Reed, the United States released Russian pilot Konstantin Yaroshenko. He'd been held since 2010 in the United States on drug smuggling charges.
This individual had already served the majority of his prison sentence for a nonviolent drug crime. And our overriding priority here was the safe return of Trevor Reed.
But that still leaves two high-profile U.S. citizens as prisoners in Russia, WNBA star Brittney Griner and former Marine Paul Whelan. Now, Paul Whelan's family expressed disappointment that only Trevor Reed was released. President Biden, though, has vowed to continue to try and bring Whelan and the others home. Annie, Allison?
Matt, thank you very much. This prisoner swap was a pivotal moment of diplomacy during a time when things are shaky at best between our two countries. So we wanted to verify, how often do prisoner swaps actually happen?
Our source is military historian Paul Springer, author of America's Captives, a book about the history of prisoner exchanges in times of war. And first, the English dictionary defines a prisoner exchange as a return of personnel from two sides that are engaged in conflict. And according to Springer, prisoner swaps actually date back before the Revolutionary War because they were a normal aspect of European-style warfare, but they were much more common in the past, largely because POW mortality rates were higher.
In Reed and the Russian prisoners case, they are civil prisoners, not prisoners of war. So in these instances, the State Department moves in and in most cases works out to quietly save people from potentially being executed by making whatever concessions they need to. We've seen this a lot in Saudi Arabia. And Springer says there have been hundreds of these types of swaps. You just usually don't hear about them unless the person is famous or the family speaks to the press.